Have you ever felt the sting of disrespect? Not in dramatic betrayals, but in the subtle moments, a dismissive glance, a sarcastic remark, or being ignored in a conversation. These small acts, like cracks in a ship's hull, can slowly sink even the strongest relationships if left unchecked. Disrespect doesn't always come in obvious ways. It creeps in through how people habitually treat us, and more importantly, how we allow ourselves to be treated. The way we respond determines whether it continues or stops. But what if you could ensure that no one disrespects you? Not by demanding respect, but by embodying it. The Stoic perspective on respect. The Stoics taught that respect is not something you demand or beg for. It's something you cultivate. True respect doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not in our power to have everything go as we wish, but we can always choose to respond with dignity and virtue." No matter how others treat you, your response is your power. Your discipline, self-respect, and unwavering character determine whether people respect you in return. When you stand firm in your values, when you don't let ego or fleeting emotions dictate your reactions, you naturally command respect. People may not always like you, but they will respect you, and that is far more valuable than shallow approval. Key questions. This video will answer: how do you recognize hidden signs of disrespect before they escalate? How do you respond without anger or losing your sense of self? How do you rebuild respect in relationships where it has faded? The Stoics left us with timeless lessons, not about demanding respect, but about living in a way that commands it. If you're ready for this journey, comment below, "I embrace strength." This is your first step toward quiet confidence and unshakable respect. Now let's begin with the first lesson. Compassion, the strength of understanding. Compassion is not weakness, but strength. Most people mistake compassion for weakness. They see it as being overly soft, forgiving, or allowing others to take advantage of you. But the Stoics saw it differently. Compassion is not about letting others walk over you. It is wisdom in action. It is the ability to see human flaws, both in yourself and in others, without reacting emotionally. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask what fault of yours resembles theirs." This is a profound shift in perspective. Instead of rushing to judgment, he invites us to reflect. Why does another person's failure or disrespect anger us? Is it because it reminds us of our own imperfections? This form of self-awareness transforms compassion from passive tolerance into a source of strength. A person who truly understands human nature cannot be easily offended. They see that disrespect often stems from ignorance, insecurity, or pain. Instead of reacting with anger, they respond with composure, demonstrating control over their emotions, and in doing so, they command respect. 3 Stoic practices to cultivate compassion. Self-reflection before criticism. Before condemning someone, ask yourself, have I ever made the same mistake? Have I ever acted out of fear, anger, or misunderstanding? This practice shifts your mindset from blame to humility. Instead of seeing others as adversaries, you begin to see them as reflections of your own struggles. Listening to understand, not to reply. Most people listen just to prepare their next argument. Stoic listening is different. It's about truly understanding the other person's perspective. When you listen deeply, you dissolve barriers, reduce conflict, and earn genuine respect. Compassionate action. Words are easy. True compassion is demonstrated through action. A kind word, a moment of patience, or an act of generosity creates a ripple effect. It strengthens relationships, neutralizes hostility, and fosters an environment where respect flows naturally. Case study, Nelson Mandela. The power of forgiveness. One of the greatest modern examples of Stoic compassion is Nelson Mandela. He was imprisoned for 27 years for opposing apartheid in South Africa. Most people in his position would have emerged filled with bitterness and hatred. Instead, Mandela chose forgiveness. He did not see his captors as enemies, but as flawed human beings acting out of ignorance. Instead of seeking revenge, he focused on reconciliation, uniting a divided nation. His ability to see beyond personal pain and act with wisdom instead of emotion made him one of the most respected leaders in history. His story is a testament to the Stoic belief that true strength lies not in aggression, but in self-mastery. Compassion is not about letting others disrespect you. It's about refusing to let their actions control your emotions. It's about seeing disrespect for what it really is, a reflection of their struggles, not yours. By mastering compassion, you gain the ability to navigate conflicts with clarity rather than anger. And when you show others that their negativity has no power over you, they have no choice but to respect you. Now let's move to the next lesson. The mastery of speech, how words shape reality. Speech reflects character. Words have power. They can build or destroy relationships, inspire loyalty or fuel conflict, earn respect or diminish it. The way we speak reflects the way we think, and the way we think determines the way we are perceived. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that mastering speech was key to commanding respect, not by speaking often, but by speaking wisely. A person who speaks carelessly, without intention or integrity, weakens their own credibility. They may talk the loudest in the room, but they are not truly heard. On the other hand, a person who speaks with clarity, truth, and purpose naturally commands attention and respect. Their words carry weight, not because they are forceful, but because they are measured. Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic philosopher, put it simply: first learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself, are my words adding value, or are they just noise? 3 Stoic rules of speech. Speak the truth. Honesty is the foundation of trust. A person known for truthfulness never needs to demand credibility. It is given freely. Lies and exaggerations may offer short-term gains, but they always lead to long-term consequences. The Stoics taught that truth is not just about avoiding deceit, but about aligning our words with reality. Imagine a leader who admits to a mistake rather than covering it up. That honesty earns them respect, while deception breeds suspicion. Truth strengthens relationships and fortifies character. Speak with kindness. Many mistake kindness for weakness, believing that forceful words command more respect. But Stoicism teaches that true strength is in control, not aggression. A Stoic does not lash out in anger or retaliate with insults. Instead, they remain composed, using reason rather than emotion. Seneca advised, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." This does not mean being overly soft or agreeable. It means choosing words that build rather than destroy, even when addressing conflict. People respect those who can correct without condescension and disagree without hostility. Speak with purpose. Words should serve a function, either to educate, solve problems, or uplift others. Empty chatter weakens credibility. Gossip, complaints, or meaningless talk serve no purpose and diminish a person's influence. A Stoic asks before speaking, is this necessary? Does this add value? Will this lead to greater clarity or understanding? If the answer is no, silence is often the better option. The power of silence. Silence is not weakness. It is a weapon of control. In a world where people are desperate to have the last word, choosing silence can be the ultimate demonstration of power. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic rulers, understood this. When he was insulted or criticized, he often remained silent. He knew that reacting emotionally only fueled the disrespect, while silence left his opponents without a battle to fight. His dignity spoke louder than any words ever could. There is a time to speak and a time to stay silent. Many conflicts escalate because of unnecessary words, because of the need to win an argument. But a wise person understands that not every battle is worth fighting. Imagine a scenario. Someone insults you in a meeting, expecting you to retaliate. Instead of reacting, you pause, remain calm, and say nothing. The room falls silent. The weight of your composure commands more respect than any heated response ever could. Words, when used wisely, shape reality. When you master your speech by speaking the truth, choosing kindness, and ensuring every word has purpose, you naturally command respect. And when you master the art of silence, you show that your strength is not in proving yourself, but in knowing you don't have to. Now let's move to the next lesson. Mindfulness, the art of presence. Mindfulness is the foundation of self-respect. Respect begins with presence. To be truly respected, you must first respect yourself, and that starts with mastering your mind. A scattered, reactive mind is weak. A focused, grounded mind is powerful. Mindfulness, at its core, is the ability to remain fully present in the moment without being ruled by fleeting emotions. It allows you to respond with intention instead of reacting on impulse. The Stoics understood that true strength is not in controlling others, but in controlling oneself. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, practiced deep breathing and stillness to stay anchored in moments of stress. He wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In life, distractions, emotions, and external chaos will always be present. But when you cultivate mindfulness, you become unshakable. You develop an inner calm that commands respect, not because you dominate others, but because you are in full command of yourself. The power of a mindful response. Imagine you're in a heated argument. A colleague falsely accuses you in a meeting. Your pulse quickens. Your instinct is to snap back, to defend yourself aggressively, but instead you pause. You take a slow, deep breath. You let the emotions settle before you speak. Then with a steady voice you say, "I understand your concern. Let's clarify the facts and find a solution together." In that moment, your composure shifts the power dynamic. Instead of escalating the conflict, you de-escalate it. You show control, confidence, and intelligence, all traits that naturally earn respect. While others react emotionally, you remain the calmest person in the room. Mindfulness gives you this ability. It creates space between stimulus and response. It allows you to engage without being consumed by the emotions of the moment. And when people see that you are not easily provoked, they learn to respect your presence. Mindfulness is not just a personal tool, it is a leadership trait. The most respected leaders are not those who react impulsively, but those who remain clear-headed in times of crisis. A mindful leader listens before speaking. They observe before making decisions. They do not allow emotions to dictate their actions. This clarity creates confidence, both in themselves and in those around them. Think of the greatest leaders in history. They didn't rush into rash decisions. They took their time, measured their responses, and acted with precision. Their ability to remain composed under pressure is what made them respected. The same applies to you. Whether in business, relationships, or personal challenges, when you master mindfulness, you master presence. And when you master presence, you naturally command respect. Mindfulness is the foundation of self-respect. It is the ability to remain present, focused, and in control of your emotions. When you practice mindfulness, you don't just react, you respond with wisdom. Respect is not given to those who are easily shaken, but to those who remain steady in the face of adversity. Cultivate mindfulness, and you will find that respect follows effortlessly. Now let's move to the next lesson, forgiveness, the ultimate liberation of the self. Forgiveness is about freedom, not weakness. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood virtues. Many see it as an act of submission, a sign of weakness. They believe that by forgiving, they are excusing the wrongdoing or allowing others to take advantage of them. But the Stoics saw it differently. Forgiveness is not about letting others off the hook. It is about freeing yourself. When you hold on to resentment, you chain yourself to the past. You allow the actions of others to dictate your emotions, your energy, and your peace of mind. You may think that by holding on to anger, you are keeping power over the situation, but in reality, the anger is controlling you. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. It is not what happened to you that causes suffering, but how you choose to interpret and carry it. You cannot change the past, but you can change how it affects you. And that change begins with forgiveness. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. It does not mean allowing someone to hurt you again. It means deciding that their actions no longer have the power to disrupt your inner peace. It is not about them. It is about you." Practical application. Extract the wisdom. Let go of the pain. One of the hardest things to forgive is ourselves. We replay our past mistakes, our regrets, our failures, trapped in an endless loop of self-judgment. But the Stoics saw mistakes not as things to dwell on, but as lessons to learn from. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? How can I use this lesson to become wiser, stronger, and more resilient? When you stop seeing mistakes as personal failures and start seeing them as stepping stones to growth, you liberate yourself from unnecessary suffering. The same applies to the actions of others. Instead of clinging to resentment, extract the wisdom from the experience and move forward. Imagine carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. Resentment is that stone. You think you need it, that it gives you strength, but in reality, it only slows you down. Forgiveness is the moment you choose to set it down. One of the greatest examples of forgiveness is Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison under a brutal apartheid regime. Most would have emerged filled with bitterness, ready for revenge. But Mandela chose a different path. He forgave. Why? Not for his oppressors, but for himself. He understood that clinging to hatred would only imprison him further. His forgiveness did not erase the past, it transformed it. By choosing reconciliation over revenge, he united a divided nation and became one of the most respected leaders of all time. This is the power of forgiveness. It is not about weakness, it is about strength, the strength to move forward without being controlled by bitterness. Forgiveness is not about them, it is about you. It is the decision to reclaim your peace, to free yourself from the chains of resentment. When you learn to forgive, not just others, but yourself, you unlock a level of strength that few ever reach. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is choosing not to let the past define your future. And that is a power that commands deep respect. Now let's move to the next lesson. Non-attachment, the secret to emotional. Detach from outcomes, materialism, and approval. Most people live their lives in chains, chained to outcomes, to possessions, to the opinions of others. They believe happiness and self-worth come from success, wealth, or recognition. But the moment these things are taken away, they crumble. The Stoics understood that true freedom comes from within. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." Life is unpredictable, filled with unexpected blows. If you base your happiness on things outside your control, you will always be at the mercy of circumstances. But if you master non-attachment, you become untouchable. You develop an inner strength that is independent of results, material possessions, and external approval. When you detach from these things, you don't stop caring. You simply stop being controlled. You can fully engage in life, give your best effort, and enjoy success when it comes, but without fear, without desperation, and without losing yourself. 3 practical steps to master non-attachment. Detach from results. Most people measure their worth by their achievements. If they succeed, they feel valuable. If they fail, they feel worthless. But the Stoics teach us that success and failure are not within our control. Only effort is. Marcus Aurelius focused on effort, not outcomes. He understood that external results are subject to countless factors beyond our influence. The only thing we own is our actions. When you embrace this mindset, you free yourself from fear and disappointment. Imagine an athlete training for years, giving everything they have, yet still losing a competition. If their self-worth depends on winning, they suffer. But if they focus on their discipline, growth, and resilience, they remain strong, regardless of the result. Detach from possessions. Society teaches us that wealth equals success, but wealth can be lost in an instant. If your identity is tied to material things, what happens when they disappear? Seneca warned against being owned by possessions. He practiced voluntary discomfort, living simply, sleeping on the floor, eating basic food, to remind himself that he did not need luxury to be content. This made him fearless. A Stoic does not despise wealth but refuses to be dependent on it. The true measure of a person is not what they own, but how they act when they own nothing. Detach from external validation. Many people live their entire lives chasing approval. They adjust their actions, words, and even beliefs to fit in. But the moment you depend on others for self-worth, you give away your power. True confidence comes from within. If you need constant validation, you will always be vulnerable to rejection. But when you detach from what others think, you gain freedom. You act based on your values, not based on what is popular. A Stoic asks, "Do I live by my principles, or do I bend to please others?" When you no longer seek approval, you become powerful. People respect those who stand firm, even in the face of criticism. How modern Stoics apply this. The highest performers, athletes, entrepreneurs, thinkers, embrace non-attachment. They focus on their discipline, not external rewards. Take an Olympic sprinter. They train daily knowing they may never win gold. If they were attached only to victory, they would quit when faced with failure. But by focusing on the process, the discipline, the effort, the mindset, they continue regardless of the outcome. And ironically, this very detachment is what often leads to success. The same applies in business. The greatest entrepreneurs don't chase money, they chase mastery. They know that financial success is a byproduct of consistent, disciplined effort. Those who only seek wealth often burn out or make short-sighted decisions. But those who focus on creating value, improving skills, and staying disciplined, those are the ones who build lasting success. Non-attachment is not about indifference. It is about control. It is about engaging fully in life while remaining free from its grasp. When you stop chasing validation, possessions, and results, you move with confidence, strength, and independence. Let go of what you cannot control, and you will find that respect, success, and peace come naturally. Now let's move to the next lesson. Humility, the quiet power that commands respect. Humility is not weakness, it's power. In a world obsessed with dominance, many mistake humility for weakness. They see it as lowering oneself, as lacking confidence. But the Stoics understood humility as something far greater, the foundation of wisdom and strength. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself. It's about recognizing that you don't know everything. It's the ability to admit mistakes, to learn from others, and to grow. A person who lacks humility becomes rigid, unable to adapt, and ultimately unable to earn respect. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, taught, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." The moment you believe you have nothing left to learn, you stop improving. And when you stop improving, you stop being respected. A humble person does not need to boast about their knowledge or achievements. They let their actions speak. They listen more than they speak. They acknowledge their flaws and work to correct them. And because of this, they command respect, not by force, but by example. Humility in action. The most successful and respected leaders share a common trait. They recognize and value the input of others. A true leader understands that they do not have all the answers. They seek wisdom from those around them, no matter their rank or status. They surround themselves with people who challenge their views, rather than those who simply agree with them. Consider a great CEO, military general, or philosopher. The ones who endure, who build legacies, are those who remain students even as they lead. They listen, they ask questions, they admit when they are wrong. Contrast this with those who refuse to acknowledge their faults, who act as if they are always right. Such people may gain temporary power, but they lose long-term respect. Arrogance isolates, humility connects. Perhaps the greatest example of humility in action is Socrates, the father of Western philosophy. Despite being regarded as one of the wisest men of his time, he famously said, "I know that I know nothing." This statement was not false modesty, it was a recognition of the vastness of knowledge and the limitations of human understanding. Socrates knew that true wisdom begins with admitting ignorance. He spent his life asking questions, challenging assumptions, and encouraging others to think critically. His humility made him powerful. It earned him followers, respect, and a lasting legacy that still influences philosophy today. What can we learn from Socrates? That admitting we don't know everything is not a weakness. It is the path to true wisdom. The more you embrace this mindset, the more people will respect you, not as someone who has all the answers, but as someone who is always seeking them. Humility is not about diminishing yourself. It is about elevating your ability to learn, grow, and lead. The most respected people are not those who claim to know everything, but those who remain open to knowledge. When you let go of arrogance and embrace the mindset of a learner, you become unstoppable. Now let's move to the next lesson. Patience, the silent power that commands respect. Kindness is a reflection of inner strength. In a world where many mistake aggression for power, kindness is often seen as weakness. People assume that to be respected, they must be harsh, dominant, or unyielding. But the Stoics knew otherwise. Kindness is not a sign of fragility, but of self-mastery. It takes true strength to remain kind in a world that can often be cruel. It takes discipline to act with patience instead of anger, with understanding instead of judgment. Anyone can lash out. It is the easiest thing to do. But to respond with wisdom and calm, that is power. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Instead of debating what kindness means, embody it. Instead of expecting others to act with virtue, lead by example." A person who is truly strong has no need to prove themselves through force or intimidation. They move with quiet confidence, treating others with dignity not because they seek approval, but because they know who they are. Kindness commands respect because it demonstrates control. A person who can remain calm under pressure, who treats others well even when they don't have to, is someone people admire. It is not about being soft, it is about being unshakable. Kindness without expectation. True Stoic kindness is not transactional. It does not come with conditions or the expectation of something in return. A Stoic offers kindness because it aligns with their values, not because they need validation. Many people offer kindness as a tool for manipulation. They give so they can receive. But when their kindness is not acknowledged, they become resentful. This is not kindness. This is bargaining. A Stoic, on the other hand, gives because it is the right thing to do. They do not need recognition, applause, or gratitude. Their kindness is an extension of their strength. Seneca, another great Stoic, believed that giving freely was an act of personal power. He argued that the greatest virtue was to help others without expectation. When you do good without needing anything in return, you are truly free, because your kindness is not controlled by external factors. The moment you stop expecting rewards for your good deeds, you gain power. You act not out of need, but out of principle. And that principle is what earns deep, lasting respect. Example: the leader who inspires respect. Consider two leaders. The first corrects mistakes with harshness. They belittle their team, making them feel small. They believe that fear commands respect, and for a time it does. But over time, resentment builds. The moment that leader shows weakness, people turn on them. Now consider the second leader. They correct mistakes firmly but constructively. They guide rather than condemn. They demand high standards but treat their team with dignity. Over time, people follow them not out of fear, but out of respect. Who is the stronger leader? Who will be remembered and admired? True strength is not about crushing others. It is about elevating them. A person who leads with wisdom and kindness builds a foundation of respect that cannot be shaken. Kindness is not weakness. It is one of the highest forms of strength. It requires control, wisdom, and self-respect. A person who is truly powerful does not need to dominate others. They lead by example, earning respect through their actions, not demanding it through fear. When you embody kindness without expectation, you become untouchable. You act not because of what you get in return, but because of who you are. And that is a force that commands respect. Now let's move to the next lesson. Gratitude, the ultimate path to inner peace. Gratitude transforms struggle into strength. Most people see gratitude as something to express only when things are going well. But the Stoics taught a different lesson. Gratitude is most powerful when life is difficult. It is not just about being thankful for the good times. It is about recognizing the value even in hardships. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "You have lived your life, now take what's left and live it properly." This reminds us that every moment, no matter what has come before, is an opportunity to move forward with wisdom and purpose. Gratitude is not about ignoring pain, or pretending hardships don't exist. It is about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you still have. When faced with setbacks, most people dwell on what went wrong. They spiral into negativity, thinking about missed opportunities, past failures, or things beyond their control. But a Stoic sees struggle as a teacher. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this?" Gratitude is not just a passive feeling. It is a disciplined practice. It is the act of training your mind to find strength in every situation. And when you master this, you gain a power that cannot be taken away, the ability to remain at peace no matter what happens around you. Stoic daily gratitude practice. One of the most effective ways to cultivate gratitude is by developing a daily practice. The Stoics believed that self-reflection was key to mastering one's emotions. A simple but powerful exercise is to write down 3 things you are grateful for every day. These do not have to be grand achievements. They can be simple. A lesson learned from a mistake, the warmth of the sun on your face, a moment of patience you showed today. By focusing on what you have rather than what you lack, you rewire your mind for contentment and resilience. Instead of constantly seeking more, you recognize that you already have enough. Example, turning reflection into strength. Consider someone who has just faced a major failure, a lost job, a business setback, or a personal betrayal. Most people would dwell on the pain, replaying the moment over and over, consumed by frustration or regret. But what if, instead, they took a different approach? What if, at the end of the day, they wrote, "I am grateful for this challenge because it showed me where I need to grow. I am grateful for the people who stood by me, proving who my true friends are. I am grateful for the opportunity to rebuild with greater wisdom." This shift in mindset transforms failure into fuel for growth. It removes the weight of negativity and replaces it with purpose. This is the power of gratitude. Stoic respect is earned through mastery of self. We have explored 9 powerful Stoic lessons, each one a step toward becoming unshakable. Mindfulness sharpens awareness. Forgiveness frees the soul. Patience strengthens endurance. Kindness builds quiet authority. Gratitude transforms pain into wisdom. Each of these virtues is a pillar of self-mastery, and through self-mastery, respect is naturally commanded, not begged for, not demanded, but earned through the way you carry yourself. Respect is never something you chase. It is something that follows when you live with integrity, wisdom, and purpose. People respect those who are in control of themselves, those who do not waver in the face of adversity, and those who stand firm in their values. When you embody these Stoic principles, you become a person others look up to, not because you seek approval, but because you move through life with quiet confidence and unshakable strength. Which of these lessons resonated with you the most? Comment below and share your thoughts. Let's continue this journey toward Stoic mastery together. Your transformation begins now.